Hello guys, Blackstream Conversations here with a video. I haven't made a video in a while, but I just wanted to talk about something that's been on my mind. I want to talk about AI, religion, and this evolution of AI that I see as very scary. I have this lingering question in my head that I really can't answer. What happens in a society where miracles no longer exist? Before I attempt to answer that question, I have to talk about my worry and I have to talk about why I believe AI is replacing God. So, first off, what is religion? Right? We know what religion is, but what really is religion? In my mind, one of the biggest uses of religion, the practical uses of religion, why people are drawn to it, is because it allows people to escape the harshness that accumulates from living life just every day on a daily basis. You know, when the going gets tough, this is regardless of the human being, when the going gets tough in your adult life, in your young adult life, people have their vices, their things that they fall back on. For some people, it's drugs. For some people, it's money. For some people, it's women or men. For others, it's abuse of themselves, whatever it may be. But religion provides this positive, quote unquote, positive cushion to help you get back on your feet. And the more you use religion, the more you pray or meditate or subscribe to religion to help overcome these problems as opposed to these other vices, the more real it becomes to you because God has answered your prayers, or you've meditated and you've found this internal part of yourself, right? You followed the religion and it's worked, and by proof of it working, you subscribe to it more. And you know, oftentimes the people in the hardest situations that experience the hardest parts of life that not a lot of people have to experience, they are the most devout believers because religion provides them the strongest cushion. And in doing so, and been believing so devoutly, you also push away a lot of responsibility, right? The responsibility for morality, the responsibility for accountability of your actions. If you've done something completely horrible in your life, God says that, trying to think of an example of Christianity, God says that you'll be forgiven if you're baptized and believe in Jesus. Hinduism says this is not the only life, you can be reborn. And if you do something with bad karma in this life, you'll be reborn, you'll have another chance in another life, in a lower state, but you'll have another chance. Right? And just those two religions, those two examples, an advantage of following those religions is that you relinquish the responsibility for existing problems that need to be confronted. And one of the biggest problems of those, argued, is death. I call it a problem. It's, in my opinion, the root of every single fear that we have can be connected to, if not stemmed from, the fear of death. Fear of accidental death, premature death, unanticipated death. A lot of religions have either overcome death or help you come to terms with that sudden death. I'm saying this because my point I'm trying to make is that religion is attractive, is because it provides solutions to inherent problems. People that experience more problems tend to be more devout. The people that experience less problems don't have to be as devout. They're more cushy. They get the better part of life. So why am I saying that AI is replacing religion? Why am I saying AI is replacing God? Because AI is creating a shortage of problems. What do I mean by that? I'm going to get into it. But first, let me ask you, how many times, if you are religious, how many times have you asked AI a question instead of praying to God or praying to whoever you pray to? How many times, if you're not religious, have you asked AI a question instead of solving a problem with your friend or searching on the internet or reading a book, doing what you need to do to make sure that the problem gets solved by your own means? How many times have you asked AI to do it and it's given you an answer? Probably a lot. Okay, so why is this a thing? Why is this an issue? Why is this something I'm talking about? Why am I afraid this is replacing God? This gets me to my question. What happens in society where there are no miracles? You can imagine however many years back when there was a drought and people were in need of rain for their crops, or else they'd just starve. How much they prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed to whoever they prayed for, right? Then they started to make solutions to those problems, different irrigation systems, different machines eventually that could help them irrigate their crops. Now we have weather tracking patterns. I actually sound like a boomer. And now we can track the weather and know when it's going to rain and when it's not going to rain, and anticipate where to plant and where not to plant. So much technology, right? All of a sudden, all those people that prayed back then just stopped praying because they made the solution for their own problems. We as humans have this tendency to eliminate the use for God. The goal is ultimately self-sufficiency. That's why instead of asking a friend or learning how to code or learning how to build a website, you could just ask AI to do it for you without asking anyone, and it'll get done on your own time. Saves you difficulty and time that you could otherwise be doing something else using AI. Okay, so why is this an issue? Why is this scary? This advancement of the human race through AI, this elimination of problems, is controlled by a specific group of people. It's not individual growth. It's dependent upon the usage of artificial intelligence, which is controlled by Anthropic, Elon Musk, with Grok, and OpenAI. And like every other platform, the main goal of these platforms is just engagement. They want you to engage with it. And the more and more you engage with it, the less and less you have to think. And the more this AI advances, the more answers it's going to give you to problems that you have in your everyday life. I recently saw someone using an AI to determine what their type in a person is. And while that's scary, I see this as a very possible future. People relying on AI for questions that they can't answer themselves. They can't figure out why they're having trouble. And the more reliably, quote unquote, reliably that AI answers these questions, like the religion that I mentioned earlier, the more and more people will begin to follow this, and AI will become like a new religion if it hasn't already. And if AI evolves to a point where most things can be answered, right? What happens to a society where nothing is a miracle anymore? What happens to a society where there are no problems that cannot go unanswered, at least? So what's my solution? Solution is keep doing hard things, keep learning skills, pick up the arts, pick up the creatives, learn how to draw, learn how to sing, learn how to write. Keep reading, keep challenging yourself. Don't tend towards simplicity. Keep praying, keep meditating, keep talking to God. Not everything has to be answered. Some things are better left unknown.